51 home runs. I felt he would have a letdown. All the hullabaloo last year with the media and the andro problems. But he said this to us last year, and we should have listened. He said the strongest part of his game is his mind. He said he's able to overcome everything with his mind, and I believe him. The sky's the limit. There's no telling how many home runs he can hit.
And one thing that's different this year, McGuire with 51, and he is the one chasing Slammin' Sammy. Sammy Sosa's got 53 home runs. Tonight, interesting matchup. The veteran John Smoltz, who has changed his motion a little bit because of some elbow trouble. He's going against young phenom Rick Ankiel. Ankiel is a left-hander, and the Braves have been real tough against left-handers.
Well, John, that's a surprise also, because in the past you'd always try to pitch left-handers against the Braves. That's why they got Andres Galarraga. That's why they wanted Brian Jordan over there to fight off the left-handers. But this year it's been Chipper Jones. He has picked up the slack that Andres left because he's hitting with power. Chipper in the past couple of years hit 3 home runs the last 2 years right-handed. This year he already has 9, so he's picking up the slack.
All right, so we'll see Chipper Jones. He's in the lineup. Brian Jordan will not be in there. And we got a lot of Cardinal fans here at Busch Stadium. John Smoltz on the hill. The Braves up against Rick Ankiel and his second major league start. We're in St. Louis along the shores of the mighty Mississippi. And an awfully big crowd is gathering here at Busch Stadium, as is usually the case for the Cardinals these days. Now, keep in mind, while we bring you this ball game, 2 other ball games will be getting underway. The Mets and the Diamondbacks, a couple of the top contenders in the National League. Al Leiter for the Mets, Andy Benes for the Diamondbacks. Each team has won a game in that series, and we'll keep track of that one. And the Cubs with Sammy Sosa and his 53 home runs are at Dodger Stadium. Sosa will be going up against Darren Dreifert, and Kyle Farnsworth, the rookie, will be going for the Cubs. So we'll keep you posted on each of those ball games, as well as bringing you this one. Bobby Cox, the manager of the Braves, and maybe his best job of managing, considering the rash of injuries the Braves have had to contend with. And they nonetheless had the best record in the majors. Here is the Pepsi Braves batting order. It'll be Gerald Williams in right field, Brett Boone at second base, Chipper Jones having maybe his best all-round year at third base, and in the last 49 games, 19 homers, 37 runs batted in, but in particular he's been hitting the lefties well this year. Andrew Jones in center, Jose Hernandez is in left field, Brian Hunter at first base, Eddie Perez the catcher, Walt Weiss at short, and John Smoltz the pitcher bats ninth. On the mound for the Cardinals, 20-year-old Rick Ankiel, his second big league start. Ankiel throws real hard, but throws a number of pitches, and when we had a chance to chat with him, we asked him to display his pitch grips for us.
4-seam fastball, you know, hold like this, you know, goes a little straighter. 2-seam, you know, like that. Curveball, just here, you know, try and stay on top, and just circle changeup.
All right, so we'll keep an eye on that. Joe, I understand he got a pretty good curveball too to go with that hard fastball.
Yeah, big breaking curveball that he throws, and as long as he can keep it in the strike zone or near the strike zone, it'll be a good pitch for him.
Gerald Williams, ice, his friends call him. First ball swinging, and he's not your prototypical leadoff man. I mean, he goes up there and
hacks
very
like he did.
Yeah, I don't want to use that phrase, but he's hacking, man. High and foul, and that'll go out of play. Gerald, 275 average, 12 homers, 54 batted in. He's been a real handy player for Bobby Cox because he's an excellent outfielder. He provides speed, he can steal bases, and he hits lefties in particular real well. And he is called out on strikes, a fastball over the outside.
And man, I tell you what, that was a beautiful fastball right there, much better than the first 2. Let's take a look at the defense behind Ankiel. And behind the plate, Castillo, he's been doing a great job of throwing out base runners. There you see 56%.
Brett Boone, another guy who likes to hack. Wire called off by Kennedy, and just like that, 2 men are gone.
Well, they better take a couple just to see what the kid throws. I mean, his fastball, the last pitch he threw to Williams looked like it had a second stage to it. Looked like it was just a good fastball halfway there, and all of a sudden it became a great fastball.
2 down, Chipper Jones.
Watch this pitch. It just looks like it I mean, that just looks like it has a second stage to me. And that was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball that he got him on.
Chipper Jones now. Now, Chipper, as you mentioned, Joe, hit 2 homers against lefties last year, only 1 the year before. But this year, he's averaging 1 homer for every 12 at-bats against lefties, which is remarkable. He's also hitting .367 against the lefties. I mean, if anything, so far this year, he's hit the lefties a little better than he's hit the right-handers.
And you can see that Ankiel knows who Chipper Jones is. And he had not thrown a pitch out of the strike zone when Chipper walked up there. All of a sudden, he changed. He didn't throw the same fastball that he threw to Williams or to Boone. He threw a fastball. He tried to make it sink a little bit.
3-0. I thought Chipper looked like he was taken on that pitch.
Yeah, he probably was, John. He didn't look like he was prepared to swing.
If
You're right.
He walks back to the dugout while the pitch is on the way. He's probably not going to swing at it. 3-1. Ooh, came in with a breaking ball.
See, he's showing Chipper a lot of respect. And John, I'm not sure what that was. It wasn't the big curveball. It looked like it may be just a cutter. Yeah, it is just a cut fastball that he takes a little off.
And that is ball 4 to Chipper Jones. So he ends up getting the walk anyway with 2 down, and Andrew Jones will come up. And we're looking at young Rick Ankiel, who's only 20 years old. And Alberto Castillo, his catcher, is wearing mask cam tonight. And there's the view from the catcher's mask as Andrew Jones comes up, surveying the situation. It looks like is Castillo. Andrew Jones. The Braves have their own excellent young talent. I mean, Andrew Jones, despite everything, he's already been a World Series hero. He's got the reputation as one of the best center fielders in the game. He's only 22 years old. That is too high as we look at it from Mascap. Ball 1. Andrew from Willemstad, Curaçao, in the Netherlands Antilles, hitting .270, 24 homers. And Joe, 22, he's still learning how to play too. And the breaking ball too low.
And that's what's amazing, John. You said he's only 22 years old. It seems like he's been around forever. And I mean, as you mentioned, he's one of the best defensive center fielders in baseball, and he continues to improve as a hitter.
Popped up. A little more than the pop-up out there in the left center. Easy play though for Drew, and that is the inning. 1 man left. The Cardinals are coming up. Renteria, Drew, and then Big Mac coming up. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Gum Out. Braves nothing. The Cardinals coming up here in the first inning. Tony La Russa, the final year of his contract. Mark McGwire is convinced that La Russa will be back because McGwire says, hey, he's a St. Louis Cardinal. He loves it here. Here's La Russa's Pepsi Cardinals batting order for tonight. Edgar Renteria at shortstop. J.D. Drew center field. Mark McGwire hitting 3rd in the order with his 51 home runs, although not many of those against the Braves since he's come to the National League. In fact, he's not hit many against the Braves. Not hit much at all of anything against the Braves. And he's joining a long list of stars who can commiserate with him. Ray Lankford at left. Fernando Tatis at 3rd. Craig Paquette right. Alberto Castillo the catcher. Adam Kennedy at 2nd. And Rick Ankiel the pitcher bats 9th. On the mound, the veteran right-hander John Smoltz.
And John Smoltz, he was a power pitcher. Now he is dropping down to take a little pressure off his elbow, and he's throwing more sinkers, but he also throws a slider and other pitches from down sidearm. So he's become doubly tough on right-handers.
32-year-old right-hander, and there's that sinker. Pretty good movement on that one as it went through there for a strike, and it is 0-1. Edgar Renteria, the hitter. Right centered, going back, Gerald Williams. Still going back at the wall, and he makes the catch.
Gerald looked like he was having problems with this depth perception there because he knew where the fence was, but he looked like he was having problems picking the ball up after he looked away. Now watch, he'll look away to find the fence, and well, if we're picking him up a little late, he looks away to find the fence, then he looks back and he was having trouble finding the baseball. But as John said before, he's a good outfielder, so he's able to make up for his mistake.
85 degrees in St. Louis and humid, real sticky here tonight. The batter, J.D. Drew. Left field. That's hit well. Hunter. Well, he had the same problem, didn't he? I say Hunter. That's Jose Hernandez. I beg your pardon.
He did. Maybe it's because of the shadows, or it's, you know, it's not dark enough here yet for the light to completely take hold.
Everybody getting their cameras out to record what they're hoping will be a moment when they see Big Mac go deep. He's done it 51 times this year. Leads the National League in RBIs. First ball swinging. They had 3 infielders playing on the left side. That was the shortstop Walt Weiss, and just like that, McGuire is gone. It's a 4-pitch inning for John Smoltz. No score after 1. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball from St. Louis. No score as we start the second inning. Rick Ankiel, the 20-year-old, up against Jose Hernandez, the former Cub, picked up along with Terry Mulholland before the trading deadline. That's been quite an important deal for Atlanta. Mulholland pitched an outstanding game here on Friday, and Jose Hernandez has ended up playing a lot of shortstop, but he's also very versatile. He can play the outfield and other infield positions. Tonight he's playing left field.
Well, I think it was a great pickup for the Braves, or anyone who could have gotten him, because as you mentioned, he can play all the positions, plus he has some pop in his bat. I mean, he's got 18 home runs. I mean, he can swing the bat. I mean, he can do a lot of different things for you. Runs pretty well, and like you say, play all the infield positions. So that was a great pickup for the Braves.
He can hit the long ball.
Chicks dig the long ball in Atlanta.
I heard that on television.
Yeah, they dig the long ball in Atlanta.
Jump pitch. There's that cutter.
I guess that was more of a in between, John. I was told he throws a big breaking curveball. That was an in between breaking ball. It was a breaking ball.
So maybe he didn't tell us just about everything.
Well, we know what that was.
The high heat. Yeah. The G's.
Yeah. And the great thing is he knows what to do with it. 2 strikes, this high heater, you cannot catch up with it, because you're waiting just a split second longer to see if it's going to break, and by the time it gets there, it's just too late. 94 miles an hour.
1 down. Now Brian Hunter. Hunter has been platooning a lot at first base in the absence of Andres Galarraga. He's got a base hit. That's the first hit of the game. 1 out, 1 on here in the second. Coming up next Sunday, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. We'll join you from Anaheim and the New York Yankees atop the American League East. The world champions of baseball, Derek Jeter, Paul O'Neill, Bernie Williams and company up against Mo Vaughn of the Angels from Edison International Field in Anaheim. That's next Sunday, 8 Eastern. We hope you'll join us. Yanks swept the Mariners this weekend at Yankee Stadium. 11-5 today, behind Andy Pettitte, who has won 5 out of 6 since they didn't trade him.
Well, that used to be the way things were. Some of the best trades made were the ones that were not made, and I think the Yankees feel that way right now, and they have to give Joe Torre the credit. He said he wanted to keep Andy Pettitte.
Just missing on the inside to Eddie Perez, and the count is 2-0.
And that happened to Seattle right after they started to play well, got within 5.5 for the wild card, and Lou felt they were starting to play well, but the Yankees are just on another level.
Joe, your old teammate was Dave Concepcion.
Correct.
Your double play partner in Cincinnati, a great player from Venezuela. Eddie Perez is from Venezuela, and Dave Concepcion was his favorite player. Also, Louis Aparicio.
Oh, I'm going to say Davey was the favorite player of every Venezuelan player. They all love Davey.
Down the left field line, that's hooking foul. 2-2. Louis Aparicio was an older generation player than David Concepcion, but he was from Eddie Perez's hometown. Now he wears number 12, does Eddie Perez, because Concepcion wore number 13 and Aparicio wore number 11. So he's in the middle.
Split the difference between his two favorites. Smart kid.
And that's how to play. Now he got into a fight with his old battery mate Paul Bird back on July the 30th. Bird hit him with a pitch, And Eddie charged the mound. You know, there was a big pile up on the mound. Punches and all this stuff was going on out there. And Paul Burton's a devout Christian. And he's at the bottom of the pile, right? And he started praying out loud. And Eddie Perez, who was in there throwing punches and whatnot, heard the praying and stopped. Sort of ended the brawl. In the right field corner, and the catch by Craig Paquette. And Perez is gone. 2 men down. I just mentioned that because I figure you hadn't heard a story
I had
quite
not
like
heard that one. You're right.
There's the view from high over the St. Louis Gateway Arch and Busch Stadium from the Gum Out aerial cam. We're glad to have them with us tonight. Skies have cleared up considerably. Earlier on, about 5 o'clock or so, the skies opened up here. A rainstorm hit that nobody expected. Walt Weiss the hitter. And he takes just a little bit low with the curveball.
You know what I think that is, John? I think that's a changeup. I think that's his changeup, and since it's a circle change, you may be putting a little more pressure on one finger than the other, and that's the movement we're seeing. Because he doesn't, I mean, he doesn't throw, you know, he throws a curveball, a changeup, and his fastball. And I believe that changeup is the one that's reacting more like a slide, you know, like a little cut fastball, but not quite as fast as his his fastball.
And the count now 3-0.
Well, he showed us his pitches. He said fastball, curveball, and a change.
But I just keep thinking maybe he held out on us.
No, he's 20 years old, John. He doesn't know that we're bad guys yet. He doesn't know that the media is bad. You can't tell him the truth all the time in the major leagues yet. He hasn't found that out.
He doesn't know. Hey, kids are smarter today.
Yeah, well, that's.
You didn't know that when you were 20. You had to learn the hard way. That is ball 4. Second walk allowed by Ankiel, so that moves Hunter over to second, and it brings up John Smoltz. Another thing that he will have to learn is that John Smoltz is an awfully tough hitter. Meanwhile, we mentioned the Arizona Diamondbacks are playing tonight against the New York Mets, and 3 runs in the first inning already for Arizona against Al Leiter. The Mets having to play without Mike Piazza, who's got an injured shoulder. Wow, nice play at second by Adam Kennedy to rob Smoltz of a hit and save a run. Brian Hunter was off and running with 2 down from second base, and I think would have scored had it gone through. So the rookie saves a run for the rookie. Ray Langford coming up when we get back. All right, thanks. No score here. By the way, Matt Williams has tied Mark McGwire for the National League lead in RBIs now. On Tuesday night, a special presentation of Tuesday Night Baseball. Mike Piazza, if he's healthy enough, up against the Houston Astros, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific from the Astrodome. 2 of the top ball clubs in the National League. Jeff Bagwell, Craig Biggio against the Mets. Henderson, Piazza, Olerud, Ventura, and company. Here's Ray Langford. He takes ball 1. Langford is hitting .302, 15 homers, 54 runs batted in, facing John Smoltz. Now, they were really aggressive against Smoltz in the first inning and hit a couple of deep fly balls against Renteria and Drew. Smoltz got a little bit of a different look out there now.
Well, you see right there, John, that shows you the difference. He turned that ball over. He's throwing a little sinker when he drops down a little bit. But more than dropping down, I think it's his body position. He's moving away from his arm to take some pressure off the elbow. As you see there, he's really not sidearm. He's just not up on top like he was before.
He's showing a little different kind of stuff than he had before. Really kind of astounded the Cincinnati Reds when he featured that little new style. I guess it takes a little pressure off his elbow. Leo Mazzoni talked to us about it and had some interesting comments about Smoltz. He said he can still go back on top when his arm tells him it's all right. But for now, he's doing very well with this. Mazzoni said it was pretty astounding to see a guy, a veteran in the middle of a year, change his style and still have success.
Well, the fact is to trust that stuff. You know, when the game's on the line or under pressure, he's been able to do that.
And it just got a piece of it. Did Langford to stay alive? Still 3 balls and 2 strikes. Langford, whom the Cardinals have been counting on for 100 RBI seasons, and he's been delivering lately, but this year the RBI total is way down. And he gets the walk. We did ask Atlanta pitching coach Leo Mazzoni how John Smoltz pitching differs now that he drops down from the side a little bit.
John used to be a fly ball strikeout pitcher. I think in his last start he got 11 ground ball outs. And that's not to say he's not going to go back to that now. I mean, if he feels real good, he can go back up on top anytime he wants. But now he goes from overpowering strikeout fly balls to being nasty. It's like Barry Larkin said in his last start against Cincinnati. Barry Larkin said, hey, man, he said, we knew he'd drop down, but we didn't know he was going to start throwing David Cone sliders and nasty sinkers on the corners.
Yeah, that's pretty tough to take. But his ball is moving more. It seems like he's got more movement with his fastball now than he had before. More sinking movement, we should say.
Fernando Tatis, the hitter. Base hit to right field.
Well, a lot of times, John, we talk about the lack of pitching in the major leagues, and the pitching's not as good as it's supposed to be. I tell you what, some of these guys can really hit. I mean, they make adjustments. This is just good hitting here by Tatis. It was a sinker. Look at this, sinker away. Look at this. Most guys in the old days would try to pull that ball. They hit a little ground ball to second, shortstop at second. Look at that. I mean, that's just a beautiful swing. He stays back, shoots the ball the other way. You can't be fooled by a sinker if you stay back on it. And I mean, you have to give the hitters credit sometimes. I think that maybe sometimes we underestimate the hitters and poke too much fun at the pitching.
Well, Tatis is having an excellent year. 26 homers, 90 batted in. There's the throw down to second base, and Langford almost got caught. The catcher, Perez, kind of double clutched before he actually made the throw down there, or he would have gotten him, I think.
Yeah, well, he was definitely out, but I'm not sure that. Let's see if Weiss gets to second base in time. I think that's what he's waiting. See, he's ready to throw. Weiss is not there. That was not Perez's fault. I didn't think Weiss was there. Weiss was late getting over there. Now, once he gets there, he actually tagged him out.
I think he should have been called out.
Yeah. But he was late getting there. Is the only reason that was a close play at all.
1 strike to Paquette. That's a foul, backing out of play. 0-2 the count. 2 on, nobody out. Alberto Castillo is on deck.
Let's take another look at this. I thought, you know, when I first saw it, I said, well, isn't he out? But then no one made a call. But here you can see that he definitely tags his foot before he touches the bag.
Sinker sliced foul off to the right, back into the lower deck. 0-2. By the way, Sammy Sosa playing at Dodger Stadium tonight against Darren Dreifort of the Dodgers. Sammy hit a single to center field his first time up.
Yeah, I was thinking if you were about to say he hit a home run, say he hit a home run off Dreifort, he get that sinker in the air.
I mean, Dreifort's got mean stuff.
Yeah.
Slider off the outside. Now, when David Cone drops down and throws that sidearm slider, I mean, it's not just a slider.
It's a Laredo slide.
Laredo slide. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe by the time the season's over, they'll have a name for Smoltz. That's a drop-down slider.
Jerry Larkin, high-end praise of the stuff that Smoltz is throwing against Cincinnati. Paquette is down on strikes on a slider. When I heard Smoltz was throwing sidearm, I didn't expect 95 miles an hour with movement, then a David Cone type slider on top. I didn't expect to see what I saw.
And here it is right here. Look at that slider. You can see the hole in it right there, and it's breaking away, and Paquette chases it. Big breaking slider. So he used to have a sharp slider. This was a big breaking slider.
Alberto Castillo, Cardinal catcher for the Dominican Republic. That sinker in there for a called strike. Castillo used to have to make his own baseball equipment, Joe, when he was a kid. He made his own mask, his own catcher's mask. Made them out of electrical wires, lots of different colors. On the right field line, he used to make his own glove out of boxes, cardboard boxes. He never had a regular glove until he was 15 or 16 years old. A friend of his signed a contract with the Angels, and with some of his bonus money, he went and bought Alberto a glove. His first catcher's mitt, and he said he loved that so much that he never went anywhere without the glove. Ooh, there's a slider, and Castillo is gone. Out number 2.
Well, you can see that John Smoltz very effective with this sidearm delivery. I mean, he's gotten Paquette to chase it off the plate outside. Now he gets Castillo to do the same thing. You can see the almost identical pitches. You see that pitch way off the plate outside, but it started in the middle of the plate. That's what that big breaking slider will do. It allows you to chase it.
Here is Adam Kennedy. 0-1. Kennedy's only 23 years old. From Southern California, went to Cal State Northridge. And he certainly had great credentials as an intercollegiate star. Oh. He can throw it to left-handers too, Joe.
And the funny thing, John, is he wasn't throwing the slider before because his elbow was bothering him at the beginning of the season. Now when he drops down, he's able to throw that slider.
0-2 the count to Kennedy. 3-time All-American from Cal State Northridge. 2 on, 2 out. Up and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. He set the school's career records in batting average, hits, and RBIs. And he led the entire NCAA Division I in hits as both a sophomore and as a junior. The only player up to that time who had ever done that. Just got a piece of it. I don't know that he ain't faced anybody quite like this.
No, I don't think so.
Kennedy's had 23 major league at bats so far with 6 hits, 261 average. Well, this inning started poorly for Smoltz. A walk to Langford, a single by Tatis, but then he struck out Paquette and Castillo and then quickly jumped ahead of Kennedy. When you face the Braves, it's tough to score. And the Cardinals have scored only 1 run in this series. Change up off the outside. 2-2. Yesterday, the Cardinals got shut out for 13 innings. Nobody scored until the 13th. The Braves got 3 and won 3-0. On Friday night, the Braves beat them 2-1. And that's picked up by Hunter. Smoltz covering, and Smoltz gets out of it very nicely. No score. We head to the 3rd. Top of the order coming up for Atlanta.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is brought to you by Propecia. Talk to your doctor today.
Sunday Night Baseball from St. Louis. It's Atlanta nothing and the Cardinals nothing as we start the 3rd inning. Top of the batting order for Atlanta. Gerald Williams leads off against 20-year-old Rick Ankiel, and he takes ball 1. Williams was called out on strikes his first time. He'll be followed by Brett Boone and then Chipper Jones. They had the ceremony before the ball game, Joe, honoring Lou Brock, Hall of Famer. Pop foul. Castillo didn't see it at first. Now he comes and makes the catch, and I'm surprised that Tatis didn't
let him make it.
Yeah. And that was the voice of Buck O'Neill, an American legend.
Hey, how about that?
Buck, welcome to the broadcast.
I'm glad to be here.
Now, this is Joe Morgan. I don't know if you've met.
I knew the fella.
Yeah, Buck O'Neill, a legend. You're right, John. I mean, the star of the documentary about baseball. And, I mean, he has the greatest baseball stories of anyone I've ever talked to, John. I mean, he knew all the great ones. I mean, from Babe Ruth to Oscar Charlton to, I mean, to Josh Gibson. I mean, he's got such wonderful stories. I wish we had time for him to tell us if y'all know about Josh Gibson and all these guys.
Well, Josh Gibson, I mean, how great was he?
He was better than that. Great hitter. Great hitter.
Brett Boone to center. Waiting for it out there is Drew, and 2 men are gone, and Chipper Jones is coming up. I mean, Josh Gibson. Now, the stories I heard said that he could hit the ball as far as anybody who ever lived.
That's right. That's right. When they got a kid here, can hit it just about as far as anybody ever hit it. Yeah.
You mean here in St. Louis?
In St. Louis. That little kid down there, they call him McGuire.
Yeah.
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 There is a difference, though.
Chipper Jones, first ball swinging. Shallow right. A late break, but coming on to make the grab is Paquette. It's a 6-pitch inning for Rick Ankiel. Mark McGuire will be coming up. That young kid, Big Mac, coming up.
Yeah.
Stay with us. Rick Ankiel, first ball swinging, has grounded out to second as we start the Cardinals half of the third. And Edgar Renteria is coming up. Mark McGuire would be due up fourth in this inning. So they'll have to get a man on base for Big Mac to come up. Renteria, the leadoff man, no score in the game. Buck O'Neill is here with us. And Buck, you were the scout that first signed Lou Brock.
I most certainly did.
And Ernie Banks.
That's right.
All right.
You were good.
Hey, I was pretty good.
Now, but between you were, Joe kind of prompted you a story that he'd heard before that I never heard about the first time you heard, and I say heard, Babe Ruth swing back.
Yeah. I'm in Florida. I lived in Florida, Sarasota, Florida. Johns trained in Sarasota. Yanks were up at Tampa, so the Yankees came to town. And we outside the fence, we gonna catch the balls, come around and sell them to the tourists, see? So this day, Yanks in town. I heard the sound of the bat. Instead of me running for the ball, I ran for the tree. So I climbed up the tree to see who was hitting. And here was a sucker with a broad chest and skinny legs, but with the prettiest swing I'd ever seen in my life. That was Babe Ruth in that ball.
So that's the first time.
First time I heard that sound.
Saw the Babe.
Yeah.
That you heard that sound.
Yeah.
Did you hear the sound again?
Yeah. The next time I heard the sound again, I'm in Washington, D.C. We're playing the Homestead Grays at Griffith Stadium. And I'm upstairs. We changing the clothes, and the Grays are hitting, getting batting practice. And I got on my jockstrap. And I hear that sound. Man, I ran down on the field, and here was a pretty black sucker with a big chest, about 34 inches in the waist. That was Josh Gibson hitting the ball. And I'm standing out there, and the people start clapping, and park full of people. And they said, Buck, look down. I got on nothing but my jock. Now, I don't hear it again. I hear it again. I'm in Kansas City. I'm scouting for the Cubs.
Now, hold on one second.
Okay.
Because that's a tease. We're doing a tease now.
Okay.
Another quick inning. We're going to the fourth. Still scoreless in St. Louis. We're in St. Louis. Sunday night baseball. The Braves and Cards. No score. Fourth inning. Rick Ankiel, the 20-year-old lefty, his second major league appearance, with the curveball too high to Andrew Jones. Buck O'Neill, baseball legend, is here with us. Formerly an outstanding player, all-star with the Kansas City Monarchs in the old Negro League. That's a base hit for Andrew Jones. Second hit for Atlanta. We got that ball game going on in Phoenix, and here's an update.
All right, John, thank you very much. Mets and Diamondbacks, of course, the Mets got in the 4-0 hole, but back come those Mets. Ricky Henderson driving in Ray Ordonez, makes it a 4-2 ball game. Ricky, the all-time stolen base king, would steal second, and then Edgardo Alfonso would drive him in 4-3. Now Diamondbacks still up on top. Back to John, Joe, and Buck.
All right. Thanks, Brian. Brian Kenny back in the studios. Got a wild one going there. Here, we've got a great pitcher's duel going as Jose Hernandez comes to the plate. Now, Buck O'Neill was telling us that they heard this sound that he had never heard before, and it was Babe Ruth swinging during batting practice. And then one day when he was actually playing in the Negro Leagues at Griffith Stadium, he heard this sound again and came running down from the clubhouse wearing nothing more than your jockstrap. And it was the first time you'd seen Josh Gibson.
That's right.
All right. And then you were about to tell us the next time you heard that sound of that explosion off.
I'm working for the Cubs. I'm scouting the Royals in Kansas City and upstairs in the clubhouse. And I come down and watch the Royals take batting practice. And when I opened the door, I heard that sound again. Man, I flew down there. I wanted to see who was hitting that bat. Here's another pretty black sucker. Shoulders like that, man, little in the waist. That was Bo Jackson hitting that ball. And I tell you what, I'm here tonight. I'm going to take these things off. I want to hear Big Mac hit it.
Or you're something else.
Bo. I mean, it's kind of sad way in a way. I mean, Bo certainly didn't shortchange himself as an athlete, but
No.
I mean, his baseball career, we'll never know
how good he could have been.
Well, speaking of that, Buck, you know, we have the voting for the All-Century team, and a lot of the, you know, old Negro League players, you know, the people today really do not know much about them. You know, Josh Gibson's on there, Satchel Paige.
Yeah.
You know, is that difficult for you to take, knowing that some of these guys were as good as anyone that you've ever seen?
Of course. But I can understand because they didn't have the stats, as many stats as Babe Ruth would have had. And so actually, and these people didn't know. See, me and just a few of us left that really knew. Yeah, that really knew. But I don't care what team you would put up number one. You pick up what number, I could pick one, could beat them. You could pick one that would beat them. You pick a different team. There was so many great baseball players that ever lived.
Right. That's a good point.
Because when you say second base, you got to think about you.
Right. Well,
you could play. But you could play. You could do it all.
Yeah.
You could do it all.
But I agree with you. There are so many great players that have passed through, you know, Major League Baseball, and that's what makes baseball great.
That's right.
But is that also part of the fun of baseball versus other sports that
we argue?
We could argue about a player that you saw in the 20s versus a player that I saw in the 60s versus a player that our children see in the 90s.
That's right.
And we could have a good argument because it's the same game.
Yeah, it sure is the same game. And the thing about this baseball, I don't care who you see. I don't care who you see. One day you're thinking, now, if this kid would miss a ball out there, I don't care if it's DiMaggio.
Nice pick down there. All right, gets it. Heading for third is Andrew Jones, and he makes it. Now that is some spectacular base running by Andrew Jones.
That's right. That's heads up.
Well, very smart, John, because first of all, Renteria had his back to second base, so he couldn't see what Jones was doing. And watch the play. This is why it's such a great play. It's a smart play. See, his back is there. He doesn't know what Jones is doing. He straightens up and fires, and Andrew never slows down, and he's able to get to third base easily. It's a good play by, see right there, he can't see Andrew. Now Andrew just keeps going. Now McGuire comes up. He actually makes a good play himself, but no chance to get him at third base. So the heads-up play by Jones, knowing that he didn't know where he was.
Now as Brian Hunter whacks one deep but foul. The Cardinal infielder is the infield has moved in as Andrew Jones has got himself over to third base. 22 years old, and as we see how the Cardinal infield plays it on the infield. Now, Buck, you are the board chairman of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum.
That's right. That's right.
Top fly, and under it, Adam Kennedy. Andrew Jones will have to hold on. That's out number 2.
Yeah, we started this in 1990. Horace Peterson, head of the Black Archives, said, Buck, come down to my office. I said, okay. I got down there. He said, let's start a Negro League Hall of Fame. I said, no, we don't need a Negro League Hall of Fame. I think the guys that's good enough should be in the Hall of Fame at Cooperstown. He said, what would you suggest? I said, what about the Negro League Baseball Museum? Good idea. So we started. We had an office just about big as this space here. I paid the rent 1 month. Connie Johnson paid it another month. Slick Rent paid it another. Just the old monarchs around there, we would pay the rent. The mayor got behind it, and you got to come to Kansas City and see it.
But now that's the place you can go and find out about those players.
That's right.
That we know so little about.
That's right.
Aren't in the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, who didn't get a chance to play against the Babe and the great players.
And one thing about it is, see, most of these guys we saw, you know, I played against Babe Ruth. Yeah. I played against Babe. We played against with Babe Ruth All-Star, Bobby Feller All-Star, Dizzy Dean All-Star. And to tell you the truth, we won the majority of the games. Not because we were better than the major leaguers, but what we had to do is everybody said the major league was the best. We had to prove a point. We wanted to prove to the world that they weren't superior because they were major leagues, and we weren't inferior because we were Negro League. So, hey, we stretched that single into a double, that double into a triple, and we're still home if you didn't watch us. Yeah, well, we just had to prove a point.
That's Buck O'Neil, a career .288 average in the Negro Leagues, 300 plus seasons. 1946, he had .353 to lead the league. He was a 3-time Negro American League All-Star, a couple of Negro American League World Series, and you got the Barnstorm.
Yeah.
With the likes of Satchel Paige, Josh Gibson.
Well, I'm with Satchel Paige. See, Satchel Paige was on our team. I played on the Satchel Paige All-Star. We traveled from coast to coast playing.
And you don't have any bitterness about the fact that you're excluded from the big leagues?
Segregation was a horrible thing. Segregation was a horrible thing. But listen, I played with and against some of the greatest athletes that ever lived. You know, I played in the Negro League. The Negro League was the third largest black business in this country. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. Nothing like the bingo long story of the soul of the game. That was a farce.
You're talking about movies that were
yeah, they're talking about Negro League baseball. No, nothing like that. Because see, Jackie didn't know Josh Gibson. See, Jackie goes in the major leagues when 1947. Josh Gibson died in the spring of 1947. Yeah.
So they never met like the movie said, is what you're saying.
No.
Exactly.
No. But
that was the HBO had a
All-Star. Yeah. They had it where they played an All-Star game together.
Yeah. But no, never happened.
2-0 the count to Walt Weiss as Ankiel, struggling a bit with his control after walking Perez. Now he's 3-0.
Come on.
To Weiss. He's got the pitcher up. And you're rooting for Ankiel now because he's struggling.
Yeah, sure.
He's a Cardinal fan.
Wait a minute. I work for the Royals, but for any baseball, I want this kid to make it. Okay. We need him to make it, don't we?
Yeah.
Pitching, we need pitching in the major league.
The view of Busch Stadium, big crowd here tonight. No score in the 4th inning. And he floats that curveball through there.
Well, he showed us that, John, earlier that he can throw the breaking ball when he's behind. But I think one of the things I've noticed this inning is after he got 2 outs, he's been pitching more carefully and maybe he's too poised.
That's a base hit, man. That's extra.
Absolutely. Coming in to score the first run, Andrew Jones. Digging for third is Eddie Perez.
Got a shot.
Home. Renteria's throw.
Got him.
And he is safe.
No, he didn't.
Great slide, and he made it. 2-0, and over to third goes Weiss.
Well, it was a great slide, as you mentioned, John. The throw beat him to the plate, but it also Weiss threw it on the outside of the line. I mean, Renteria threw it on the outside of the line, and Castillo had to go get it and then come back. Weiss rips this down the line. There's no way that he should have been able to score on this play. Now watch the relay. Here comes Perez. Plenty of time to throw Perez out, but the throw is way off line, and he's able to hook slide back across the plate and beat the throw, beat the tag.
Now John Smoltz up there takes strike one. And there, Ozzie Guillen giving Eddie Perez some grief. Eddie Perez may be the slowest runner on the Braves club, but he's a good slider.
Look at this. I mean,
great slide.
Great slide. I mean, the throw was on the outside of the line. That's what made the play.
So Ned Yost, the third base coach, said, I'm sending him with 2 down on the pitcher coming up, and it worked.
Right.
The curveball misses. Nice save there by Alberto Castillo. 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's Ned Yost who decided to gamble on that one. Well, Buck O'Neil, always a great pleasure when you stop by.
It's always good to be here.
And anybody who gets down to Kansas City, be sure and look up the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum in Casey, and they might really get lucky. And in addition to learning about all the great players from years gone by, you might happen to be there.
That's right.
Talk a little ball with you.
That's right.
And John,
I enjoyed it.
And John, I tell you what, I talked to Buck and I talked to Joe Black. They're my Negro League historians. I learned more about the Negro Leagues from them than anyone else. They know everything about the Negro League.
And that's ball 4 to John Smoltz.
Let's talk.
We were talking about Ned Yost, and he's wearing a microphone. Here's Ned Yost and what he was saying and doing while he sent him home.
Go! Come on, Eddie! Come on! Come on!
And then, hey, Eddie made that look good.
Yeah. But you're right. I mean, with 2 outs and the pitcher hitting,
Yeah, you got to
might as well try it.
You got to send it.
Yeah. Make them make the play.
Dave Duncan has been out to visit with Rick Ankiel as Ned Yost tries to send somebody else home now. Gerald Williams, the leadoff man, is up. He's 0 for 2 against Ankiel, who's now thrown 28 pitches in this inning. 2-0. Atlanta has broken through for the first runs of the game. Buck O'Neil, the first black coach in Major League Baseball with the Cubs, and then as a scout signed both Ernie Banks and Lou Brock. But you couldn't convince the Cubs not to trade Lou Brock to the Cardinals.
No, that's why the people in Kansas City, I mean Chicago, love me so much, because I okayed the trade.
Uh-oh. Ernie Broglio. That's the final out of the inning. Thanks to Buck O'Neil. 2 runs for Atlanta. Mark McGwire is coming up. We'll be back. Sunday Night Baseball from St. Louis. 2-0. Atlanta leading the Cardinals, and Mark McGwire coming up to lead it off for St. Louis. Cardinals have scored only 1 run in this series, and they've been scoreless for 22 consecutive innings. And it's fouled away by McGwire as thousands of flashbulbs go off all around Busch Stadium. McGwire grounded out to short his first time. As we showed you at the outset of the telecast, McGwire is hitting only 195 against Atlanta pitching. And that is popped up foul and back out of play quickly. 0-2.
And I'll tell you what, John, it's surprising to me, but right now Smoltz is going right after him, and that's why you see McGwire swinging at the first pitch. He's getting pitches to hit, and they're going right after him. Now expect him to maybe drop down and throw that sidearm slider just for effect.
Oh, man. I think the umpire expected it.
And McGwire expected it.
That was pretty close. 3 infielders played to the left side of second. 1-2 to McGwire.
Man, he's going after him with nothing but fastballs.
Well, that's exciting.
94-mile-an-hour pitch and a 90-mile-an-hour bat speed. There's his son, McGwire's son.
There's Matty. There's a slider, and he got a piece of that one. Skying it foul off to the right and into the crowd.
Well, you can see the bat speed on that one, 81 miles an hour. Just shows you he was trying to protect the plate. Look at his eyes. I mean, the focus. McGwire has said that his mind is the biggest asset that he has. And you can see he just reaches out, tries to foul that one out of the play. And look at him focus in on the pitch.
Too low. McGwire's having one of the best months of his career. 357 average here in the month of August. And 29 RBIs this month. And now it is 3-2.
Well, he does something that most good hitters do not do, and that's get in the box and watch. He gets in. Now he starts to keep his eyes on the pitcher completely. Most good hitters do not do that.
And the slider misses. So after getting ahead of McGwire, Smoltz ends up walking him. And then Matt comes over, picks up his dad's bat.
And John, the reason that most good hitters do not focus, you can't focus on one point and just stay there over 3 or 4 seconds. And that's why you see a lot of hitters look away and then they look up and find the release point. But McGwire, he focuses on the pitcher from the point the moment he gets set in the batter's box.
Also, you don't find many hitters, good or otherwise, who stay in the batter's box between pitches like that. Ray Lankford, and that's ball 1. I mean, a lot of hitters, after every pitch, they walk out of the box, take a stroll.
Well, the point is you have to gather all your focus at one point, right when he releases the ball, and then you want to relax.
1 ball, 1 strike to Lankford, who walked his first time. I mean, did you do that? Did you walk out of the box?
No, I didn't walk out of the box, but I looked away. I don't think you could, I couldn't. McGwire obviously is very different than most hitters anyway, but he feels that he can do that.
You know who did that was the great Japanese home run hitter, Sadaharu Oh. And he had followed the discipline of the samurai, studied the samurai.
Right.
And part of what the code of the samurai was to look into the eye of your opponent and get inside of his head to know what he was going to do before he did it. And so would always look straight into the eye of the pitcher before the pitcher would bat. So McGuire, a little samurai in him, perhaps.
Maybe.
3-1 to Langford. Big pitch here for Smoltz. 2-0 Atlanta leading. And another walk. 2 out, nobody out. Meanwhile, here's an update from the studio.
All right, John, thank you very much. Mets and Diamondbacks going back and forth. Diamondbacks up 5-3 in the third, but the Mets come back again. Roger Cedeno putting this one in, scores Robin Ventura. We have a 5-4 game right now at Arizona. Also, Cubs and Dodgers, no score, top of the fifth. Darren Dreifert, Kyle Farnsworth, Sammy Sosa, by the way, 1-for-1 single and a walk. John?
And there's a bouncer deep into the hole. Weiss has it. There's the airmail throw to first. Not in time. Fernando Tatis just did beat it out, and nearly an incredible play by Walt Weiss.
John, I didn't know where he was going with that ball. I thought maybe his best chance was to go to third. Now watch Chipper Jones. Now he goes to third base. I think that was his best play, was to go to third base, but he tried to get Tatis at first base, and he couldn't get enough on the throw. He couldn't get in there. See right there, you haven't even seen McGuire yet in the picture. I think the force out at third was the way to do it. Watch, the ball's hitting the hole. Now watch, Chipper Jones is at third base right there. Go to third base. That's the short throw, as well as you've got. You have McGuire running rather than Tatis on the long throw.
So McGuire makes it to third. Langford over to second. Tatis safe at first. The bases are loaded with nobody out. And Craig Paquette is the hitter. The infield double play dead. Paquette out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Paquette, in the brief time that he's been with the Cardinals, has hit well, and has hit particularly well with men in scoring position. Paquette hitting .379 with runners in scoring position since becoming a Cardinal. Nobody out. Nice pitch. A fastball for a strike. It's 1-2. Yeah, so Walt Weiss, while in the midst of making an incredible play, actually made the wrong play.
Yeah, I think he did. I mean, I think you have to realize who's running, and McGuire's running to third. The ball is closest to third.
And he struck him out with a slider. Well, the Cardinals just are not able to score in this series. Smoltz seems to be at its very best when he's in his most dire predicament in this game tonight.
Well, here's that slider, and with 2 strikes, you see Paquette chase it off the plate, down and away.
And that's just a great pitch in that spot. Now Alberto Castillo. Shallow right. Gerald Williams can't get it. McGuire scores. Langford stops at third, and it is 2-1. Castillo knocks in the first run for the Cardinals since early in the game Friday night.
Well, Smoltz throws him a slider. He just flipped it the other way. I mean, he's off balance. I mean, watch it. I mean, there's nothing he can do. He just kind of throws the bat at the ball, and he just gets enough of it to get it over the infield and in front of Gerald Williams in right field.
So 1 run in for the Cardinals. 2-1 now. Bases still loaded with 1 out, and Adam Kennedy, the rookie from Cal State Northridge, comes up. He grounded out to first his first time. Deep center. Andrew Jones. Tagging at third is Langford. Also tagging Tatis, and they both move up. It's tied at 2.
Good job by Kennedy. First pitch fastball, and he gets it into the air in the center field, deep enough to not only score Langford, but to move Tatis over to third base.
So now Rick Ankiel will come up, the Cardinal pitcher. Ankiel, who in high school also played some outfield and was a pretty good hitter. Swung the bat like a hitter there, didn't he?
Well, I think he just closed his eyes and swung at that one, John. Let's see if I can swing it hard.
Runners at first and third. 2 runs in. Each team has scored twice here in the fourth. Tatis at third. Castillo still at first. That's back to the screen, and quickly he's ahead of Ankiel. 0-2. Ankiel grounded out to second his first time. Started with McGuire walking, and then the next hitter, Langford, also walked. And those 2 walks have turned into the 2 runs the Cardinals have scored in the inning. Wow. It's about 8 miles foul, but high into the upper deck. It was impressive.
Well, I think Ankiel knew what was coming. Smoltz said yes, and then he shook off location. So I think Ankiel knew it was going to be something hard inside, and that's what he gets. You can't, you know, if you shake yes and then a no for location.
Hunter short hops it and makes the unassisted put out. It's tied 2-2 after 4. Brett Boone, Chipper Jones, and Andrew Jones coming up for Atlanta. We'll be back. Rich or Rick? And back at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Gum Out. Braves 2 runs 3 hits. The Cardinals 2 runs 3 hits. Big crowd here at Busch Stadium, hard on the shores of the mighty Mississippi. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan, your Sunday night telecasters. And Ankiel throws a called strike to Brett Boone. It's Boone, then Chipper Jones, and Andrew Jones, the 2, 3, and 4 spots in the Atlanta batting order. Boone is 0 for 2 in the game. Atlanta has had a hard time at the top of its order this year, finding people who get on base consistently. The numbers 1 and 2 spots in the Atlanta batting order, regardless of who they are, but just the 2 spots have a collective .311 on base percentage, and that's the worst in all of Major League Baseball for the top 2 spots in the order.
And they still have the best record in all of baseball.
That's a lot of RBI opportunities that are not there. Gerald Williams hitting leadoff tonight.
But he's actually done a good job while he was leading off. I think, you know, before he started playing regular, they were really struggling.
Right, Brett Boone went for a pitch that was up over his head, and he whacked it through the middle for a base hit. Just made it through there. At number 4 for the Braves.
John, while we wait for Chipper Jones, I want to say congratulations. Wait a minute, I got to take a look at this. Well, you can't see where it is on mass cam, but it's up, and you can definitely see that he went way out of the strike zone to get it.
Single for Boone. Here's Chipper Jones. Big swing and a miss. He has walked and flied to right. You were saying?
I'll get to it in a second.
1 strike to Chipper.
Chipper's up.
Chipper came in hitting .367 as a right-handed hitter. Switch hitter. The strong side has always been the left side. But he's put it together as a right-hander this year. Under the tutelage of the new hitting instructor in Atlanta, Don Baylor. And the big curveball.
John, Felipe Lou thinks that this kid Ankiel is going to be the next big star pitcher in the major leagues. And this is one of the reasons. Look at this big breaking curveball. This is the one that we've been told about. And that's basically the first time we've seen him use it effectively tonight. We've seen a lot of shorter curveballs. But just look at that big break, the overhand curveball. And you can see the spin. And Chipper was completely fooled by it because he hadn't seen it before.
3rd strikeout for Ankiel, and there's strike 1 to Andrew Jones. Andrew has flied to left center. His single in the 4th inning started the 2-run rally. And he helped accelerate that rally when he went from first to third on a slow ground ball to shortstop. Very exciting play. 5-4 over the Mets in the last of the third at Bank One Ballpark. Cubs and Dodgers, no score. Top of the 6th at Dodger Stadium. Sosa a single and a walk, and was also thrown out trying to steal after his walk. Sammy 53 homers, McGuire 51. 2 down here is Jose Hernandez, a former teammate of Sammy Sosa's.
And Sammy was very disappointed that the Cubs traded him because he thought that he was a good player and he thought he could help the Cubs.
Cubs, the story they told was that the day of the trading deadline, they offered him what they thought was a pretty fat contract, and he turned it down. So they said, we better get something for him because we're not going to be able to sign him. Just off the outside, ball 1.
And it makes sense. If you're not going to be able to sign a player, then you need to get something for him because otherwise he'll just walk away next year and you'll get a draft choice.
You got young Micah Bowie, young left-hander with a good curveball, which we saw him on the second.
Yeah.
Wrigley. Right up the middle is Adam Kennedy for the force out on Brett Boone. Top of the order for the Cardinals coming up. Renteria, Drew, and then Mark McGuire. It is 2-2. Braves 2, Cardinals 2. Last of the 5th inning. Edgar Renteria is flied out deep to right center and is fouled out to the catcher. He's the leadoff man for St. Louis. And the count is 0-1.
John, I want to congratulate the San Ramon Thunder for winning their last 2 soccer games, and my daughter Kelly for scoring 2 goals yesterday. They were.
You have a daughter who's a budding soccer
Mia
star?
Hamm Jr. Yes.
And off the outside. Well, congratulations.
Right. For winning the game, not just for her scoring the goals.
Well, and just playing hard.
Thank you for playing hard.
John Smoltz with a 2-1 count to Renteria. With third base, Chipper Jones. And there is 1 away. Mark McGuire comes out on deck as Drew comes up. Tony La Russa, McGuire's manager, says that McGuire has improved the most since his early days in Oakland. There's one part of his game that's really improved.
I think the biggest improvement offensively is that he's really gotten smart at the plate. I mean, he makes terrific adjustments. This is something as a young hitter that he really wasn't interested in doing. So I think he's as smart as the smart ones. You know, Tony Gwynn, you know, you go try and get Tony out the second time and you just line drive because he made the adjustment. Mark does that.
1-1 to Drew. And 0-2.
And John, I agree with that in that one of the things, the adjustments I think he's made, he's gotten closer to the plate, which eliminates a little bit of having to think inside, then back outside. He just thinks out over the plate and reacts to the ball inside.
Well, I thought that was 0-2, but I guess it's 1-2.
Well, it was 0-2, and that was called a ball. And you see Smoltz's reaction. Watch Smoltz's reaction. Watch the catcher's reaction. Watch. He's ready to throw. Smoltz says, where was it? The
right field. And Williams. 2 down, nobody. Well, he got him.
Yeah, but he gave him another pitch, and he could hit that ball out of the ballpark.
Man. Here's Mark McGuire. 508 home runs now. Wasn't that, you know, it doesn't seem that long ago that he hit number 400.
Well, it wasn't. It was only last year. Amazing.
It was hard to believe. McGuire 0 for 1 with a walk. Center field. Andrew Jones. And the side is retired. Kind of a casual catch there for Andrew. 2-2. We move to the 6th inning in St. Louis. John Miller and Joe Morgan back in St. Louis. We go to the top of the 6th inning. Brian Hunter, who has singled and popped out, up against Rick Ankiel. Pretty impressive so far what we've seen from Ankiel. Only his 2nd major league start. Center field. Starting back now, coming in is Drew, and he makes the catch.
Let's take a look at Mark McGwire's swing in this last at bat. He's really attacking John Smoltz, and Smoltz is attacking him. 85, 95 mile an hour bat speed. Look at that. I mean, he attacks the ball. He just gets under it. And this is what I thought was great. I mean, here's Andrew Jones. Look at that. Very, very casual out there, John. And he's made some great catches this year, but that was very relaxing. He gives a souvenir to the fan.
A little style.
A little style.
Willie Mays had the basket.
Yeah. Somehow Willie's looked a little better than that, though.
Well, Bobby Cox has likened Andrew Jones out there in center field with his abilities to Willie Mays. Just about as high a praise as you could ever give anybody. August 9th or thereabout, Andrew Jones made this catch on a ball hit by Bill Spires of Houston.
Oh, man. That's the same guy that just made that casual catch. Look at that. Great. That's a great catch. And he protected himself, you know, by jumping into the wall with his feet.
Andrew Jones. Atlanta fans, I think, are truly blessed, not only with a great ball club year after year, but, I mean, this is truly one of the great, exciting young talents in the game. I mean, there's Andrew Jones. Montreal has also got one of the great young talents, Vladimir Guerrero. I mean, two guys who have a chance, if they can stay healthy and if they keep working hard, progress, and learn the game, who could be among the greats of the game. It's the kind of talent they have.
And you take it, for instance, Andrew Jones is only 22 years old, John. He already has 78 career home runs at 22 years old. And there's Chipper Jones. So you're right. They have some young talent that is special. And this year, I think Chipper Jones, like last year, he's a bona fide MVP candidate.
Perez. It's a 3-2 count now. Perez has flied out and walked and scored a run in the 4th inning with a great hook slide, avoiding a tag at the plate. 2-2 in the 6th inning. A tight, tense series all the way. Slowly but foul. I mean, the game on Friday was 1-1 in the 9th inning. Brett Boone singled home the winning run. 2-1 Braves win. Yesterday was 0-0 into the 13th inning. You don't see too many games like that.
No, not anymore.
Pass can being worn by Alberto Castillo. The game yesterday was the first in the majors this year that continued scoreless through 12 innings. And shortstop Edgar Renteria, who also is an outstanding, exciting young talent. 2 men gone. NFL Monday Night Countdown. Comprehensive NFL coverage, including the latest from training camp, with Sal Palantonio reporting on Bill Parcells and the Jets, followed by NFL preseason special on ABC at 8 Eastern. The San Francisco 49ers and the Oakland Raiders from the Oakland Coliseum. Niners quarterback Steve Young threw for over 4,000 yards last year. Napoleon Kaufman and Rashaan Salam continue their battle for playing time in the Raiders backfield. Al Michaels and Boomer Esiason will be there 8 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night from Oakland.
Oh, John, I think I'm going to drive over. You think they'll let me work with them? I'm going to drive.
They're only going with 2 this year.
Oh, okay. Well, then I won't go. But I'm going to go to the game anyway.
And I think they've got it covered.
Okay.
Sorry.
They've got it covered. I'll just go to the game then.
Al and Boomer, they got it covered, Joe.
I'll take my little TV and listen to them and watch the game.
2-1 the count to Walt Weiss, who doubled home the 2 Atlanta runs in the 4th inning, only his 3rd hit of the month. So the month is almost over. That's not too many. And that's largely because he hadn't played much.
Right.
He's been hampered with injuries for the 2nd straight year. 3 hits and 23 at bats in the month of August for Walt Weiss. That's foul off to the right.
That's another reason why the Jose Hernandez and Terry Mulholland deals were very good for the Braves. He was Hernandez was able to play shortstop until Weiss was able to get back ready to play on an everyday basis.
And Hernandez is a pretty good shortstop. Strong arm. 3-2 the count to Weiss. Smoltz, the pitcher, would be next. Weiss has been on base twice with 2 down, just in front of Smoltz. Make it 3 times.
Now, you know what's amazing also about this kid is that he doesn't get out there and seem to overthink. He gets the ball and he's ready to throw. And that's unusual for a lot of young kids. I mean, they're ready, you know, they're trying to figure out what they're going to do next. But, I mean, he gets the ball and he's ready to throw.
He's walked 5 in the game. Fastball for a strike.
That was a throw a strike fastball right there, John. 87 miles an hour. That wasn't his best fastball.
We've seen him up to what, 94? That's a curveball.
That's a beautiful curveball, John.
And it was a strike.
And you see LaRussa and everybody was yelling at him. I mean, that looked like a beautiful curveball. But it's kind of hard to umpire from up here, but it was a pretty good pitch, and it seemed like the Cardinals wanted it anyway.
No, I prefer umpiring from up here. The strike zone is tiny at the moment. 3-1. John Smoltz at the plate. His wife Diane is expecting the couple's 4th child as Manny Ibar gets up in the bullpen. And there was a chance that if she had been ready to deliver the child today, that Smoltz would have gone home, and Greg Maddux was volunteering to pitch. Maddux, who threw yesterday, pronounced himself fit to make his next start. Right up the middle, base hit. Smoltz is on base for the 2nd straight time. Weiss goes to 3rd. Smoltz had walked his last time. John and Diane Smoltz with 3 children. And again, we see Smoltz, the hitter, and he's a good one.
Well, he gets a 3-2 fastball, and he grounds it right back up the middle for a base hit. And as you mentioned, Smoltz is a very good hitter.
Dave Duncan, the pitching coach for the Cardinals, out to the mound to talk to his young prodigy as Gerald Williams gets ready to bat in a 2-2 ball game in the 6th inning.
I think Duncan is trying to explain to him it doesn't matter if they miss a pitch or they do something. You have to keep throwing that breaking ball. You can't just throw fastballs just because he's not calling the curveball for you. And that's the 12th base hit of the season for John Smoltz.
They're in St. Louis, and that's Busch Stadium from high overhead from the Gum Out aerial cam. With us again tonight and all through this 1999 season on Sunday Night Baseball. Here's Gerald Williams. He's 0 for 3. Tries to curve, misses badly with it. That was the 103rd pitch for Ankiel, who at age 20 threw 80 pitches in his major league debut. And the Cardinals, like all teams with young pitchers, they have kept him on a strict pitch count. Down the left field line, hooking into the corner. That one is a foul ball. Against Darren Dryford. 1 ball, 1 strike to Gerald Williams. Runners at 1st and 3rd here. That is strike 2 on the outside. McGuire hit his 54th home run and still had 54 through 136 games last year. So Sammy considerably ahead of McGuire's pace of a year ago. That's a foul down the left field line. Sammy tonight at his 54th in his 129th game. So he's 7 games ahead of where McGuire was before McGuire hit number 55. It's the spot that's commemorated with the number 70 that McGuire hit his last one last year. The number that is now the record. And again, Joe, we touched on this earlier, that one of the differences this year with Sosa and McGuire doing it again is that unlike last year, it is Sammy who is setting the pace this year. Shot to short. Renteria will go to the bag, forcing Smoltz, and Rick Ankiel gets through it in a 2-2 ball game. Langford, Tatis, and Paquette coming up when we return. Yeah, the Astros can really use him right now. Their whole outfield is just racked with injury. They had Craig Biggio out there for a while. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Gum Out from Busch Stadium, St. Louis. John Smoltz Out to face the cleanup hitter, Ray Langford, in a 2-2 ball game here in the 6th. Langford has twice walked in this game. And he scored a run back in the 4th inning. Smoltz has walked 3, which is very unusual for him this year.
Well, John, he went after McGuire. McGuire just fouled off several pitches, and you have to keep trying to make good pitches on him. And McGuire eventually worked his way into a walk, but he definitely went after it.
1 ball, 1 strike. Now, Smoltz had not walked more than 2 batters in any of his last 15 starts. He also had not allowed a home run leading off an inning since May of last year. I thought I'd mention that now when we got a guy who's capable of doing it.
So now we have a leadoff hitter up, leading off this inning.
Yeah. As long as the leadoff guy's out. But the leadoff hitter in this inning happens to be the cleanup hitter. Center field. Andrew Jones. Over in right center. And there is 1 away.
We're going to take a look at John Smoltz. His elbow was bothering him earlier in the year. We're going to show you his delivery. Right here you can see he's up on top. Now here's the John Smoltz now. This takes pressure off of his arm. Remember, he was way up here. Now look how low he is. So that's the difference. That takes the pressure off his elbow and also allows him to throw the slider as he does there.
Strike 1 to Fernando Tatis. Tatis has singled to right, and he has also had an infield single. One ball, 1 strike. 1 out, nobody on in the 6th inning. 2-2. Atlanta at the start of the day, leading the Mets by 2.5 in the National League East. The Mets have been an extraordinarily hot ball club, and conventional wisdom for a while has been that the Mets not only could unseat the Braves atop the East, but that many started figuring that they would.
Well, I actually thought they would as well, John, simply because the Braves had so many injuries and they kept mounting up. But, I mean, they've really pulled together and kept this team together. Because I still believe that the Mets, you know, have an almost perfect lineup. You know, that speed at the top, power in the middle, and the best defense in all of baseball. So the Mets have a lot going for them, but the Braves are really showing a lot of heart by being able to maintain their lead and just play as well as they have with all the injuries.
Slider missing, 3-2. You know, the Bill Madden today in the New York Daily News wrote of a chat he had with Sparky Anderson, your old manager. And Sparky says that he sees a lot of similarities between this year's Mets ball club and the old Big Red Machine from 75 to 76.
Well, there are some similarities, just what I just talked about. Speed at the top, power in the middle, and a good defense.
And he likes the way they built their pitching staff. As Sparky put it, he said they built it the same way from the back to the front. And in effect, they started with the bullpen. Sparky had those great bullpen groups, the Reds at that time. And the breaking ball for the strikeout. Tatis is gone. And the Mets have had one of the strongest bullpens in the league as well.
Well, we talked about, you know, how Smoltz is able to throw the slider from this position now, where it would hurt his elbow throwing over the top. And this was a more effective slider actually against right-handed hitters, because it gets them to bail a little bit, then they have to chase to try to catch up with the pitches moving away from them.
Fastball for a strike to Greg Paquette, who has struck out twice.
Yeah, and I saw an interesting note on Paquette. He had 74 plate appearances before tonight's game without drawing a walk since he's been here. 74. So don't look for him to walk.
So he is up there hacking.
He's hacking. Only Randy Johnson, the pitcher from the Arizona Diamondbacks, has more at plate appearances without a walk. He has 86.
1-2. By the way, Sparky Anderson had triple bypass surgery in July.
Correct.
And he says that right now, though, he's fine. The only thing wrong with me now is boredom. 1-2 the count. And the slider for the strikeout, and he's gotten Paquette 3 straight times. 3 up, 3 down. That's 8 in a row retired by Smoltz. Boone, Chipper Jones, and Andrew Jones coming up. Sunday night baseball from St. Louis. The Braves 2, the Cardinals 2. As Atlanta comes up with some big hitters. Joe McEwing has gone in to play right field now, replacing Craig Paquette as part of a double switch. McEwing in right, hitting 9th in the order. And the new Cardinal pitcher, Manny Ibar, takes over the hill for Rick Ankiel and the 20-year-old Joe. What, impressed?
I was impressed. I was impressed with his stuff. I think he's only going to get better as his knowledge of, pitching in the major leagues, grows. He has great stuff, and I really like that curveball he was throwing, John, because that's kind of a lost art, especially with left-handed pitchers. Very few of them throw a true curveball anymore. And his fastball, to me, looked like at times it just takes a second stage and is overpowering. So I really think he's going to be a good major league pitcher.
Cardinals are hoping that that's the way it works out. The young left-hander, they have been resisting bringing him up too soon this year, even though they were having terrible problems trying to find healthy arms.
But John, everything I've read and seen, I would say that they did not bring him up too soon. And remember, he probably accomplished all he could accomplish in the minor leagues. He was 25-9 the last 2 years, and he was 13-3 this year in the minor leagues. So I mean, you're not going to accomplish a lot more by just overpowering minor league hitters. You have to get up here and learn how to deal with major league hitters, and that's what they're getting a chance to do. Walt Jocketty, the Cardinals general manager, on the left in the red shirt.
1 ball, 1 strike to Brett Boone. Chipper Jones on deck. Joe McEwing in right field. And there is 1 away. Chipper Jones coming up. 2-2 in the 7th. Now the Atlanta Braves come out in game box score. And the 2 RBIs from Walt White sitting in the 8th spot. A 2-run 4th inning double. Eddie Perez, who had walked in front of him, scored the 2nd run with a great fadeaway slide.
John, you get the impression that Brett Boone likes that high fastball.
Well, he singled on one the last time.
Right, and he just hacked at it again.
Chipper Jones down the right field line. That's in there, base hit. McEwing hustling over. Gets it back in, and Chipper has his first hit of the game, plus a walk. He is now 1 for 3.
And here's Chipper Jones. He likes the ball out over the plate, and that one is down and out over the plate. And he rips it down the right field line for a base hit. A little bit out in front, but a good swing anyway. And the Braves have the go-ahead run at first base.
And here is Andrew Jones, who has flied out to left center, singled and scored a run, and popped out to first. Here in St. Louis, where they have a long and rich tradition, Cardinal history. And a balk has been called on Manny Ibar. I was just going to ask Lou Brock, one of the great base stealers of all time, if he thought Chipper Jones was going to steal there. But he got balked over there.
Well, that's the best way to get there. Rather than exert all the energy, just let them balk you over.
I'm surrounded by base stealers right now.
John, we were watching highlights of you today, Lou, on film. And I was watching, man, you had a little false step there when they made you stop. You were one of those guys that always kept moving. I remember that. But when they made you stop, man, that back foot was moving first.
It really didn't matter. Really didn't matter.
Well, here it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
They call it the stab step, Joe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So that's 2 ways you can take out stab step other than just a straight burst.
Well, we say it really didn't matter.
It really didn't matter.
I like that.
Yeah.
1 strike to Andrew Jones. Chipper Jones at second. A possible go-ahead run. And Ibar misses outside. 2-1. Lou Brock tonight was honored here in St. Louis. They unveiled a statue of Lou. They have Bob Gibson, Stan Musial, Red Shading, Stina Slaughter, and now Lou Brock.
Well, yeah, that's the start. Call it the starting lineup. The starting lineup. So it was neat that the Cardinals management and Bill Jessup and Noble Jessup decided to really honor their Hall of Fame players.
I think it's great, and like John said, there's such great, rich tradition here in St. Louis that they've always done things like that.
Now,
That's
Joe, number 20 retired there. Now Joe is sort of analyzing and critiquing your stolen base style out there, Lou. But you don't have to take that from him. I mean, you had 250 more steals than he did.
John, but I never saw him make him stop. That's what I didn't understand.
Well, they couldn't do that either.
You always had that walking lead. You just kept going. I would yell at our pitcher, stop and make him stop. And they could never make him stop.
Well, I think that's what the misleading. People oftentimes think they make you stop you from running, but it really doesn't. You can run from a standstill. There's a stab step again that you were talking about, which the back foot actually slide back toward first and stab the ground and propel you the other way. And there's a good fastball.
No. Lou, you didn't have a good fastball.
Yeah, but
beautiful statue.
Yeah, the hit and run type statue. They didn't know whether to depict it as a hitter or as a runner, so we compromised.
I'm glad they made it as a hitter, because most people know about your stolen bases, but they forget that you got 3,000 hits. I mean, so I'm glad they made you a hitter there.
Well, Joe, I was like you. Most of the time they said their scouting report would keep them off base, so they threw us strikes.
Right.
And so we would hurt people. They threw us strikes. Yes.
Jose Hernandez, the hitter, after Andrew Jones had gone down on strikes. Chipper Jones still out there at second. 2-2 the score. Now, have you seen the new young base stealer from the Mets? Roger Cedeno has done so well this year.
I have not seen him at all, but the fact that Ricky Henderson is over there and influenced that type of a baseball, and so you see what the Mets are doing. They play an old Cardinal style baseball, an old Cincinnati big red machine style baseball. Steal a few and hit a few out, all in the same game, and make the other team beat you.
We were just talking about that, Lou, how that team is built, and you're exactly right. I mean, still a few speed at the top of the lineup, some RBI men in the middle, and they play great defense.
Yeah, and they'll win a lot of one-run ball games, so they don't get beat in one-run games when you have that combination.
Well, can they beat the Braves for the Eastern Division title?
Well, it depends on their arms at that point. And the arms can keep those legs off base, because certainly the Braves got the arms to at least hold them close. It would depend upon the Met pitching staff to stop the Braves.
Another guy who's stealing a lot of bases this year is now with Arizona. He had been with Pittsburgh. Tony Womack.
He's good. He's good. He reminds me of Joe.
Up the middle. That's a base hit for Hernandez. And here comes Chipper Jones. Here comes the throw. And it's not in time. And down to second base goes Hernandez. 3-2 Atlanta. Jose Hernandez, the former Cub, getting the big RBI to put the Braves back on top here in the 7th inning.
Hernandez gets a low sinker and he just grounds it back through the middle. Now watch Drew's throw. He keeps it so low, trying to make sure he keeps it down, that I don't think McGuire could have cut it off. So he had a tough cutoff there, and that allows the hitter Hernandez to go down to second base. Now he's in scoring position.
So now Brian Hunter will come up, and the balk sets up the run. Ibar committing the balk, putting Chipper Jones over into scoring position in the first place. Joe Morgan had 689 steals. Lou Brock 938 steals.
He was older than I was. He played longer.
Well,
he also stole 100 and something a couple of times. I never got close to that.
Well, he was on a big red machine. He thought he just sat back and ride home on the long ball.
You know, it's funny, though, John. I finished second to Lou in stolen bases probably 7 or 8 times at least. I never led the league in stolen bases because of Lou Brock, but I finished second most of the time.
Sure, recall your highest total was 70?
67, right?
Yeah, that was...
That's it?
That's
just
it.
67?
Yeah, 2 years in a row I had 67, and he was up around 100, so... You know.
Hey, John, one of the things that when Joe was talking about looking at the base stealer and determine whether he's going to do anything or not, most of the time, the left foot base stealers, they lift their foot, their left heel, so they do not get it stuck in the ground. So that's one of the ways of telling when they're going to run. And so we used to do that to Joe all the time.
Lou Brock, congratulations, Lou, on the statue here at Busch Stadium. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks a lot.
3-2 Atlanta. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, 3-2 Atlanta now, leading the Cardinals. Last of the 7th coming up. And John Smoltz to work with Alberto Castillo. Sinker in there for a called strike 1. Smoltz has retired 8 consecutive hitters since the Cardinals got their runs in the 4th inning. In fact, the first of those 8 was Adam Kennedy, who drove in the second run with a sacrifice fly in the 4th. After the screen. He's also only thrown 83 pitches in this game. Adam Kennedy on deck, then Joe McEwing due up 3rd. 3-2 Atlanta. Right back to Smoltz. Got him with a curveball. And there is 1 out. Let's take a look at the Cardinals gum out in game box score. The top of the order had been shut down. McGuire got a walk in the 4th and scored a run. Langford got a walk and scored a run. Tatis, really one of the only Cardinals who's really figured out Smoltz. He's had a couple of hits against him. And Alberto Castillo drove in a run with a single against him in the 4th inning. And there is ball 1 to Adam Kennedy. Yeah, Adam Kennedy.
Sorry, John.
You're signaling me here. You know, I'm sitting here with these two of the greatest base dealers who ever lived, Joe Morgan and Lou Brock, and you know, and you guys, when we went off the air, you guys were like talking about techniques and things to look for and things to do to get a good jump and that sort of thing. And I'm just so sorry, you know, that my career is over already. All the stuff I've learned now, Joe. Out number 2 as Kennedy is gone. Hit that one pretty well. Greg Maddux will be going on Tuesday, and he will be the subject tonight of the Sunday night conversation on SportsCenter. Charlie Steiner chatted with him earlier, so stay tuned for that. SportsCenter coming up with Kenny Mayne and Steve Levy. The baseball pennant races as we head toward the end of August. And who has baseball's sweetest swing? Log on to ESPN.com to cast your vote for either Alex Rodriguez, Ken Griffey Jr., Larry Walker, Rafael Palmeiro, John Olerud, or Tony Gwynn. And now the results on SportsCenter later on. Kenny Mayne and Steve Levy coming up right after the ball game.
Since we didn't get to vote on the 50 centuries, let's vote on this. Who do you think?
Well, it's too hard, that one.
No.
I'm saying Rafael Palmeiro. Speaking of which, Joe McEwing has launched one out here to tie the ball game. Home run of the year for McEwing, and that is the first home run of this series.
Low fastball, and I mean, he gets all of it. Take a look at this low fastball, 77 miles an hour. He gets the barrel out front and drove it over the wall down the left field line.
So McEwing, who had just come on as part of a double switch in the first half of this inning, makes a big impact, and that's a base hit by Edgar Renteria. Down the line, he's headed for second. The ball goes into the corner, and Renteria with a big turn. He'll hold now as Hernandez gets it back in. The homer by McEwing, now a double by Renteria.
Well, it's a low fastball, and he really looked like he just hit that mostly with his hands. He really didn't drive through with his legs, but he's able to hit it down the left field line, and he actually gets it into the seats.
Now J.D. Drew. Drew is 0 for 3 in this game. Pass Smoltz to short. Walt Weiss, and that ends the inning. Mark McGuire left on deck. So it's tied up again. We go to the 8th inning. Bottom of the order coming up for Atlanta. 3-3.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Gum Out. Drive your fuel system clean with a complete line of Gum Out Performance Fuel Additives. And in part by
strike
Pringles.
One for Eddie Perez. And here we go to the top of the 8th inning. It is 3-3. Eddie Perez is flied out, walked, and scored a run and grounded out. High bar. Hard ball to third. Tatis, great pickup. And a good Well done on both sides.
You're right. I mean, watch how he catches this ball. He gets the funny hop, so he wants to stay down on it. So you see he gets down and blocks it, so to speak. Gets up, and he's got such a strong arm. He just snaps it across. It's sinking, and McGuire picks it out of the dirt. And McGuire is much better defensive first baseman than people realize.
He's one of the best in the game. The GMC game summary: 3 runs, 7 hits for Atlanta, 3 runs, 5 hits for St. Louis. John Smoltz has gone through 7. And there's ball 1 to Walt Weiss, who has walked twice and hit a 2-run double for the Braves. And Ankiel in his second big league start, 6 innings, 2 runs, 5 hits, 108 pitches against the Braves. A strong performance by the 20-year-old left-hander. 1 ball, 1 strike to Weiss, who has not been retired tonight. John Smoltz is out on deck, but the Braves bullpen is busy, as is the Cardinal bullpen. There's Russ Springer up in the bullpen. Renteria out number 2.
And I like the way Renteria feels the ball. He did everything perfect right there. I mean, he got in front of the ball. He opened his glove. He brought the ball to him. I mean, that's the perfect way to play shortstop. I remember a couple of years ago I was doing the World Series with he and Vizquel. I mean, they play the position just beautifully.
Renteria, who when this season began was not fully healthy.
Yeah.
Had some knee problems. That's a called strike.
And he's made more errors this year than normal, but I mean, I just love to watch him because he plays such a fundamentally sound shortstop.
Very few big league players who hails from Colombia in South America, from Cartagena, Barranquilla. One and 2, and I found out something I did not know tonight. Willie McGee of the Cardinals, years and years ago, once played winter ball in Colombia, and the bat boy on Willie McGee's team was the older brother of Edgar Renteria. I mean, the baseball world reaches out to a lot of far-flung corners of the globe, and Edgar was always Willie McGee was always one of his favorite players because of the connection with his older brother. And Smoltz is down on strikes. Manny Ibar throwing some heat. Mark McGuire is coming up. It is 3-3. Last of the 8th inning. 3-3, the Braves and Cardinals. And here is Mark McGuire with a chance to do some serious damage to the first base Braves, facing John Smoltz for the 4th time. Down and in for ball 1.
And if you're the Braves, John, you have to be a little cautious here because Smoltz has been going right after McGuire with fastball. This fastball is not as good now as it was earlier.
A lot of movement on that one. 1 ball, 1 strike. It was in the 8th inning on the final Sunday of last year against the Braves in this ballpark that McGuire hit a spectacular home run. That's out of play off the right field side. 1 and 2 against Dennis Martinez.
Yeah.
And that was the game-winning home run of that game against Atlanta.
And it was a fastball. Martinez went after him with 2 straight fastballs, and he hit the second one farther than I could see.
High and foul off to the right. Again, thousands of flashes going off all around Busch Stadium. This was a year ago on a Sunday Night Baseball. Over 500 feet. A 3-run homer that cleared the hitter's backdrop in center field. Just an incredible home run. Did he swing?
Yes.
No. And Montague, the first base umpire.
I think the Cardinals got a break, and you can see screaming and yelling. And well, I guess, you know, he and Bobby Cox have a long history, too. They do not get along very well. And you can see, I have to agree that the Braves had a...
Well, Montague has just thrown somebody out of the game, and I'm assuming it's Bobby Cox, yeah.
Well, they have a history. I mean, Montague has thrown him out quite a few times. But I have to agree with Bobby Cox. That appeared that McGuire's head of the bat went past, you know, the hold-up point. And I think Bobby Cox is saying, if you could see me over here, you should have been able to see the pitch.
Not a swing, not in this ballpark, not on this hitter on this night. Bobby Cox will have to leave the dugout for the rest of the night. This is the play, the disputed swing.
Well, I watched the head of the bat. He lost control of it and it pointed toward the pitcher a little bit. That's how you call it. That's the call.
That's the 10th time this year that Bobby Cox has been ejected. Most in the majors. 2-2 to McGuire. Strike 3 call.
And John Smoltz kind of raised his hand, says finally. And he does throw a perfect pitch knee high over the outside corner. Let's take a look at the sequence of pitches. First one was a sinker down and in. We'll take a look at that. Then there was a fastball away. He missed. Fastball in. He fouled off. Here's the breaking ball. After this one, here's a breaking ball that he checked on, but he did not check. And here's the third strike right over the outside corner.
And meanwhile, Ray Langford has swung and missed for strike 1, facing Smoltz. Langford, another dangerous hitter with power. He has walked twice and flied out once. By the way, Mark McGuire and this Atlanta pitching staff is so tough. McGuire 0 for 8 in this series. And he is hitting below 200 against Atlanta pitching since coming into the National League.
Well, the one thing the Braves do is they can pitch to a hitter's weakness, and they do not make a lot of mistakes in the middle of the plate.
To left center field, into the alleyway. Andrews going to have to chase this one. Langford's got great speed, coming around second, and he'll stop there as Andrew hurries the ball back toward third base. And Langford ran all the way as if he fully intended to go for 3.
It appeared that Andrew Jones took a direct route to that ball and didn't go back a little bit. It was hit so hard, I don't think he could have caught it anyway. Fastball tailing away. See the tail on it there. It's tailing away from Langford. And I mean, he hits a bullet in the gap in left center field. And he came around the bag. He never slowed down. He almost decided to go, and then he changed his mind.
Meanwhile, they are walking Fernando Tatis intentionally.
Well, the pitcher's on deck. The pitcher's spot is on deck.
Although Thomas Howard, a switch hitter, has come out on deck. But Fernando Tatis has been one of the outstanding RBI men in the league this year. He's got 90 RBIs, and he's had 2 hits against Smoltz tonight.
And this also, you know, sets up a double play situation. So in effect, you give him one chance, hopefully, to drive the run in by getting the ground ball instead of having to get 2 hitters out.
Also, Tatis has hit .352 this year with a runner at second base or third base or both. Scoring position, we call it. Tatis, another outstanding young player. There's Kevin McGlinchey, a right-hander up in the Atlanta bullpen. 3-3 in the last of the 8th. 4 walks allowed by Smoltz in this one. He and his wife Diane expecting that tomorrow the couple's 4th child will be delivered. Sports Center right after the ball game. Stay tuned. Greg Maddux featured in the Sunday night conversation. Charlie Steiner, who's here covering the game on ESPN radio, chatted with the great one before the game tonight. Back to the screen. Thomas Howard, a great fastball hitter.
And John Smoltz is going after him with the fastball. He's counting on his movement to be able to get him out.
Diamondbacks still ahead of the Mets, 5-4 in the 7th in Phoenix. Cubs lead the Dodgers 5-0 at Dodger Stadium. Here's the 9th inning. It's hit kind of softly. They get Warren at second, and the relay by Weiss not in time. Boone got rid of it quickly to Weiss, but Thomas Howard's a very fast runner. Langford over to third. Tatis out at second. 2 down.
No chance to get the double play on this ball. It wasn't hit hard enough. And Braves are a little lucky here because watch, Tatis goes in hard. If he hits Wise when he's up in the air trying to throw the ball, he's going to throw it away because they had no chance to get Howard at first. Boone does his job. You have to just take the one right there, but Wise tries to throw off balance, and a good play by Hunter.
And the ovation you're hearing is for Willie McGee, who has become an icon here in St. Louis. Perhaps at the very tail end of his career. McGee with 2,244 hits, a former batting champion for the Cardinals back in the early 80s.
Former MVP.
1985, he hit .353. He also won a batting title in 1990 for the Cardinals. Also a pinch runner has come on over at first base. Eli Marrero. It's too low to Willie McGee.
And in his, as an elder statesman, he's more patient at the plate now. Willie McGee was used to hack at everything.
That was no mistake, I'm thinking, by Smoltz.
Exactly. And that's no mistake. He's trying to get him to chase something down, but McGee's not biting.
Willie batting for Alberto Castillo. Marrero at first. Langford, the possible go-ahead run at third. 3-3 in the 8th inning. 2 down. Off the left field line, out of play. 2-1. McGee hitting .251 this year. And the thinking is that Willie McGee, even if he does decide to retire as a player, will not drift off out of the game. That a lot of teams like to have him as a coach or an instructor. Right. Get a lot of knowledge of the game to pass on. That is fouled and out of play. 2-2. Using his top 2 pinch hitters right here. First Thomas Howard, down Willie McGee. 3-3, 8th inning. 2-2 the count. There goes Marrero from first, and McGee strikes out on the slider. The side is retired. Top of the order for Atlanta. We go to the 9th inning, tied at 3.